Sometime when the 2020 two geeks from social media formed an alliance to bring you geek news from across the Nostalgiaverse. They are Jacob's Toys and SuperSorrell, bringing you a weekly live show, toy news, TV and movie reviews, special guests, opinions, tangents, and bad impressions, reveals, releases, thoughts, maybe dreams. Now prepare for the Geek Week in Review!
Hello! Welcome back to the Geek Week. This is episode 128 with me, Jacob's Toys, and of course the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. On point in the right way this time. Welcome. If you're watching live, hello, how you doing? Make sure you're jumping in the comments. Join in with the conversation and all the rest of it. Quick couple of shout outs to Shelley, to Andy, to Stephen. Oh, Shelley is at Universal Islands of Adventures. How cool.
Out in Orlando right now.
Cool. Out in Orlando. As always, all the social media links are in the description of the video, so do go and give us a follow over on those. And if you're watching us on catch up, then hey, how you doing from the past? We're talking to you from the past. But do try to join in with a live show once upon a time. This week's a little bit different because we did plan to kind of focus around the MCU as a whole because there wasn't a huge amount going on. And then all of a sudden in the 11th hour, we had toy news, we had trailers, we had all sorts drop in. It's just going to be a bit of a mixture. We are going to talk about the MCU. We are going to do that. And we are going to talk about some of the toy news. There's been some really cool drops this week, but we are going to talk about the MCU stuff. We will get there. We'll do that a little bit later in the show.
The amount of trailers that dropped all in a day was a bit insane, to be honest. Like all the big blockbusters, one after another.
Oh, I know.
It was like they didn't want to be outshone, wasn't it? It was like you got like Ted posted up, then all of a sudden the House of Dragons. Then the boys popped up.
Yeah, and then
just one after another after that. Then
just random ones, weren't they? Yeah, it's all good. There's a couple of comments. Let's jump to those quickly. Shelley is obviously at Universal Islands of Adventure. She's going to try to join in at some point tonight. We really do appreciate that. A little bit jealous of where you are. And we have got who else we got? Kelby Bragg in the comments said, SuperSorrell, what do you want for Christmas this year?
Legos, lots and lots of Lego.
That's nice to be asked. Stephen Butler said, been great seeing your Hot Toys stuff and Sorrell's Vlogmas. Yeah, cool. I'll address that quickly because somebody actually did comment on one of my videos saying that, oh, you're selling off a load of your Marvel Legends and you're posting a load of Hot Toys. Are you out of Marvel Legends? I'm not out of Marvel Legends. Like, you can kind of, which way do I need to go? You can still see, there's loads of them there still in my shelves. I've just sized down. Like, if you could see the rest of my room, there are still thousands of Marvel Legends. It's like they are still there. And I'm very excited because the No Way Home figures have started to drop. And yeah, I've got them all coming. They're all coming. I was kind of, I didn't need them, but then they're all coming.
Star Comics and Cocktails put them all in stock, didn't they, earlier?
It was random, yeah. I mean, not just over here in the UK, but over in the US as well. So for anyone that doesn't know, we had the No Way Home 3-pack come out ages ago, and it was a Pulse exclusive. The 3 Spider-Man figures. Everyone went mad for it. It sold out. Brilliant. then literally a couple of months later, they announced they were doing them as single card releases, but with an unmasked head sculpt. So then everyone kind of went mental again, and it was just like they sold out literally within minutes, with actual minutes. And now they've started shipping, and all of the retailers have got them back in stock. So they're all there again for people to pick up. So yeah, so it's really cool.
And props to Replicas, just to give them a plug, sorry, quickly, because they do a lot of the import stuff, which I collect these days, and they've now got in stock the I'm going to butcher this name, I think, Sorzoic Warriors. The Sorzoic Warriors, and they're made by Boss Fight Studios. These are 1/12 scale, and they've got the 4 of the different dinosaurs in right now, and they look absolutely awesome.
That's awesome.
31 quid a piece, but they look awesome.
That is really cool. That is really very, very cool. But yeah, I the Dr. Octopus is the only one that's not been shipping yet. So the Goblin, all of the single carded figures for the Marvel Legends Spider-Mans, they're all coming. So they are popping up all over the place.
I have to show you this because I was so friggin' good. So these are the Sorzoic Warriors, all in stock. And then as I was scrolling this evening, no!
Oh no, is that
Sid from Toy Story, and they've sold out, and I really want that. That looks so cool. And he even comes with look at all the it comes with all the little toys.
All the actual like butchered toys. That's cool.
Including like it's the dodgy doll head one I want. That looks amazing. But it comes with all of the toys, different expressions, and
that's very cool. There's going to be some really cool action figure photography based around that.
Killing it with because they've released Andy, and they've also released the big, what's it called, the Chicken Man. Owl's toy barn. Yeah, Owl released him as well.
I did see him. I saw him pop up on a few people's Instagram.
But yeah, Sid, I think Sid is the ultimate villain, isn't he? He's like, you need a Sid on your shelf.
That's it. And to address the Vlogmas, obviously Sorrell is doing a Vlogmas, which is like a daily video, which is quite fun. I enjoyed the elf in the Christmas tree. Short of the elf in the Christmas tree. The Vlogmas is cool. How are you finding it?
It's proving hard to find a different way to kill the elf every day. I'll give you that. But no, I've been doing a blind bag a day instead of doing my advent calendar, which I've been enjoying doing that rather than advent calendar, to be honest. And then cool. the Vlogmas videos are just between 5 and 10 minutes of me just whatever I get up to that day. On Saturday there was nothing really to talk about, but I did a massive thing on Figure Obscura. Because that dropped this week, which we'll have to get onto, because not a lot of people realised what that was. It took people a while to penny to drop.
Oh, it's instant for me.
For me, it was instant. I'm a massive fan of the book, though.
As soon as you sent it to me, there was no. I text back straight away, didn't I? There was no question. It was like knowing what things they do. It was quite obvious.
Yeah, and obviously with your namesake attached to it, I knew you'd have to grab one.
Yeah, I haven't yet though. I haven't
yet.
No, I keep
sold out the first wave. First wave's already gone.
Has it? I keep getting an email saying it's in your basket. It's in your basket. But
yeah, the first wave sold out instantly because Dave Darko contacted me and he was going to get one as well. And he was so I said, "How did I get mine?" I was like, because I literally sat there and at 2:00. I was like straight on refreshing my page like Big Bang Theory, refresh.
I had it at the 2:00 mark, and then I sat on it for a little while because I was like, you know what? I don't know where I'd put it into my collection.
Yeah, I understand that.
I really wanted it, but I didn't know where I could fit it. And it would just, if it was bigger and I could kind of give it its own space, then I think I probably would have jumped on it. But yeah.
So I think if you did buy it, I think it would be a little rabbit hole because then I think you'd want to go back and try and find Headless Horseman, the Mask of the Red Death, and then it's like a little cabinet of literary characters.
Yeah.
That's why I've done it. I've got all of them though now.
That's my problem. I think it might be a line that I revisit later down the line and try to kind of go on a bit of a hunt for. But no, I'm loving the Hot Toys at the moment. My head's in the way.
Yeah.
Finally completed the big 3. I've got Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America from Endgame. They're all there. Obviously, I've got Moon Knight. I've got Vision from WandaVision. Deadpool's hiding behind there. I've got Doctor Strange. I've got Hawkeye, Black Widow's there, Loki. Obviously, Thanos is down here. Got War Machine. I've got loads.
To say it's been a couple of months, you've gone on a mission with these things.
You've gone
all out.
On display now, actually, out of box. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 out of the box at the moment.
Jesus.
I've got another 2 that I know are coming my way. And then a couple more next year. It's yeah. But they're brilliant. I absolutely love them. I absolutely love them. And it's a good way of kind of mixing the collection up. So let's talk toys. Let's actually talk about what's come out, what we got going on.
Yeah, so there was some really cool drops this week. Some really cool drops. NECA went on a massive spree of dropping a bunch more of the Turtles for The Last Ronin.
Yeah, I did see some of these actually. Some of these are very attractive. I'm not going to lie.
So these are all based on The Last Ronin. If you're not sure what The Last Ronin is, it was the book where the original writers came back together and wrote a story, like an ending to the Turtles. And it's very good story. If you've not read it, I don't want to spoil it for you. It's an amazing read.
Yeah.
And we've got the blooded up Raphael here from his kind of like final arc. And just look at that with all the arrows stuck in him and stuff. It's just so cool.
It's just a really mature take on the Turtles, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, the story is amazing. It is literally for the people like us that grew up with them, and it's the final tale of the Turtles. It's their swan song kind of thing, and it is just the best story they've ever written, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's very good.
And I like all the covers as well. Like I just showed there, all the covers are based on the artwork as well from the comic books that they feature in. So this was Raphael's first to fall. He was you kind of as you get from that. But yeah, it's very cool. Need to go read the book. So I don't want to spoil it as much as I humanly can.
I'm just having a look to actually see how readily available it is for people. Just while you're throwing those up.
Yeah, Amazon. I got mine off Amazon.
That's what I'm looking at now. Yeah. So it's on Amazon. Literally, you can pick it up for 20 quid.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a read.
Yeah. There's obviously there's other versions of it. There's like you can get different versions of it. There's another spin-off that's the Lost Years.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good.
Yeah, because the story of The Last Ronin takes place in the future with flashbacks to the past. But the Lost Years is what is predominantly from the past parts, and it's Leonardo and Splinter in Japan.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make a truce between all the different clans.
Yeah.
Because like the Foot and Shredder is one clan, then you've got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which are part of I want to say the Hirosho clan or something. There's a name for them, and then there's like other clans as well. It's very cool actually because you like Splinter's like one of the. If you remember in the cartoon, Splinter was one of the like senseis in Japan.
Yeah.
So he's he just got mutated into a rat, but they like really like think highly of him in Japan and stuff. It's a really cool story about how they get over there and stuff.
Yeah.
Because obviously like the turtles can't just fly. So it's
jump on a plane.
Cool. Yeah, they can't just walk through Heathrow. So
imagine the shells going through baggage.
But yeah, there's a Splinter version as well that goes with them. Again, it's just a proper really cool comic book take on Splinter rather than the cartoon versions.
And because it's NECA, you know what you're getting with NECA. Like it's going to be a decent figure. You kind of know what the limitations are going to be with articulation. But you know what you're getting with NECA, don't you? There's no kind of real debate over what kind of.
NECA is one of them studios now where people either love them or hate them, but I really like NECA. I'm a big collector of NECA.
I've had a lot of NECA over the years. I actually don't have any in my collection at the minute. It's one of them ones that I kind of need to revisit. But I think The Last Ronin might be my gateway back into NECA. Yeah,
because they're all readily available right now to still get. You can get all of them.
I've really sat on it and kind of gone, no, I don't need it. But I do have a Ninja Turtles kind of setup going on. And yeah, I've got to show you this quickly. Let me just before we get off the turtles, I'm gonna knock everything down. I pulled it out of the bottom and I didn't knock it all down. I got sent this. Did I show you this one yet?
Ooh, no.
So this is from Diamond Select. It's Deforms, but it's a Ninja Turtle box set.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's based on the Nickelodeon. So I've opened the bottom because I didn't want to break the seal at the top. And the original plan was I was like, you know what, I'm going to get these and I'm going to have them at the front of my Ninja Turtle display. But how awesome are the individual packets? Look at them. They are. I just can't open them. I can't bring myself to open them. Like they're just so cool. And obviously each one of them is different. So it's based very much on the that.
Yeah, that is cool.
They're just so cool. And the thing is they'll look really cool out of the box, but they look really cool in the box. So I just can't bring myself to do it. So I'm going to do a proper review on them. And I might as well show you the other two while I'm at it.
Yeah.
They're both here. Look. So then Michelangelo and Leonardo as well. So when you actually look at the four of them together, like they do look like really cool. And there's something like really nostalgic about that packaging. Yeah. And like the back of the packaging, it's just that iconic picture that for anyone from the 80s, 90s, like that's Turtles. Do you know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
So yeah, so I'm really in a dilemma of whether I open these up to put in my display or whether I kind of display them as they are. But I've got a Ninja Turtles display building, so I think The Last Ronin has to be in there somewhere, in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. But anyway, moving on from Turtles.
DC Multiverse announced their Bizarro 2-pack.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know much about Bizarro, to be honest, but there you go. Bizarro 2-pack.
Yeah, and that's the Batman Zero or something, isn't it?
I can't remember his
name. I genuinely can't remember his name. If anyone can remember, but it's yeah. I'm not big up on these characters, to be fair.
No, but yeah, Bat-Zaro, Bizarro and Bat-Zaro 2-pack.
Bat Zero. See, that's where I thought it was. Bat Zero, Bat-Zaro. There you go. Makes sense. I don't know these. I really don't know these characters, but they're cool figures.
But the big figure drop this week for me, especially, was the figure Obscura dropped Jacob Marley from A Christmas Carol. A lot of people on the group for Mythic Legions, when this got announced, a lot of people were saying, "Is this from Christmas Carol?" And I'm like, "Yes, of course it is." Yeah. Jacob Marley. Yeah. Not a lot of people knew where it came from, and you could tell how many people have watched the Muppets version rather than like a real version of it, because everyone was like, "Why has he got the tissue, the wrap around his head, and they didn't get the elongated mouth part?"
Yeah,
and that's straight from the book. He's a cop, so when he opens it, when he lets the thing out, his mouth just drops open.
And they've done an alternate head, haven't they, for that?
Yeah, they got the alternate head with the open mouth with the big white eyes, and then he's got that version of the head.
That head for me, that was the bit that had me on the shelf. Was that alternate head? It just looked so grim.
I'll be using that head when I do it. And do you know what? I've got a flight stand all ready for him, because there's no way he's standing like that. He's going to be on a flight stand for me.
He's just such a really cool looking figure. You can see all the chains attached to the safes and the money boxes and stuff like that. And
my dad has literally been looking with me today in my unit. We know exactly where he's going to go, and he's going to help me hammer a couple of nails into the top part of the cabinet, so I can have him on a flight stand in the middle, have one briefcase over his head, and the two cases either side of him floating, so that the whole thing's going to be off the floor.
You know what you need?
What's that?
Black light.
Oh, glow him up in the dark.
You need a black light on him. You really do. Just like a really simple little push button black light just above him, just that every now and again you can switch it on. That'd look wicked.
But it's such a cool looking figure. But I was surprised at how many people didn't know what this was from. As soon as I saw that, I was like, it's got to be Jacob Marley.
Oh yeah, that to me straight away was Jacob Marley. Like that many chains. There it is. There's your corpse there. That's so cool. It's so cool. Like it really is. If you've read the book, they've done a very, very good job with it.
Oh yeah, that's the whole point of Figure Obscura. They're all based on the physical, like the book representations, rather than any film adaptations. It's all straight from the source material. It's their interpretation of it.
What I found really, and you can see it quite clearly in this picture, is that it looks like the feet are translucent.
They are,
but the legs don't look translucent.
No. So the feet are translucent, but they've not given any other pieces translucent. It's just the feet. That even the shoe part is normal plastic. It's literally the foot.
But I couldn't work out why. I didn't know whether there was a relevance to that.
I think it was just to make him look more ghostly. just to give it that ghostly look. I think there's nothing really. There's nothing in the book that references his feet or anything.
I was scratching my head and I was like, did I miss something? I've forgotten something. Is there a reason why he hasn't got feet? Because technically, like, hasn't got feet, has he? Like they're see-through. And I was like, I don't remember him not having feet. I don't remember that being a part of the character, but I just think it looks awesome. I really do. And there's, like I said, I just couldn't figure out how to put him into my collection. If I had a decent horror section, he would go front and center. But yeah.
Speak comfort to me, Jacob.
I love the argument as well. People argue whether Scrooge is visited by 3 or 4 ghosts. And obviously it's 4, like, because of it being Jacob as well. But
the ghost of Jacob Marley.
Yeah, but everyone's kind of like, well, past, future, and present. Like, they're the ghosts that visit him. Like the future, ghost of future, present, the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, the ghost of Christmas future.
Yet to come or something. They call it something like yet to come, I think, in the book.
Yeah, they don't call it future, do they? But it's, whatever it is. And that's the argument. But the truth is he's visited by 4 ghosts because he's visited by his old business partner, Jacob Marley. Which again throws people because in the Muppets there's 2, isn't there? It's Marley and Marley. But yeah, so there we go. A little bit of like, quizzical knowledge there.
And the really cool part is that the Father Christmas in the green that they've released has the ginger head with the wreath attached to it. So that is basically the ghost of Christmas present.
Yeah.
So that looks good as that, as well as Santa Claus. That's why I went for the green one, because it plays as 2. Because he does come with the white beard as well. You can put the white beard on him, and I've already got about 3 different Santa outfits from other lines that I could just shove on him if I wanted to. So I thought I'd go for the green one for something different, because everyone were buying the red one. But
mate, now you said Claus, that's how I could have built a display around it. I could have got the green suited
to finish
Santa.
it off for you, bud. Mask of the Red Death is technically Death, which is the ghost of Christmas yet to come. So technically, you've got Figure Obscura have technically given us 2 of the other ghosts. They've just not given, which need a ghost of Christmas past.
Past, sorry. Isn't that the younger one? That's the
light, isn't it? The light. Yeah.
I don't know how they would do that.
Yeah, I don't know how they would do that. But yeah, I don't think that it was intentional to make the Santa Claus the ghost. It's just how they originally looked, wasn't it? Green was the look of Santa before Coca-Cola made him red, basically.
Made him red, yeah. I really messed up the other day. I was talking in front of a load of kids and they were talking about Santa. I went, well, why is he wearing green? I went, well, that's what he wore before Coca-Cola changed him red. And they went, what? I was like, Coke sponsored him one year and gave him a red cape. And they're like, oh, right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Santa Claus with a Coke sleeve, a Coke thing on his sleeve.
I was panicking. Literally, I had about 6 or 7 kids like looking at me as in like, what? And I was like, in my head, there's like that little voice. It was at this minute he knew he had. It was like, it was at that point he realized. But so I was like, they sponsored. You've seen the adverts with the Coca-Cola trucks, like there was a big marketing thing, and he wore red for a little while, and then I think he just kept it because it didn't show up blood.
My daughter's at that age now. She's 8. She's at that age now where she literally the other day she was laid on the floor staring at the elf on the shelf like this, and I'm like, what are you doing, Paige? And she went, so if I touch him, the magic goes away and Santa Claus won't come. I'm like, that's what it says in the book. That's the rule. I didn't make the rules, mate. And she's like this going. You can see her going like this, dying to touch it. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it.
It's good.
She's getting to that age now where she's getting a bit.
For us though, we've got 2 older ones and 2 younger ones, and the older ones obviously now do the elf stuff. Like that's how we introduce the elf. That was their little kind of Christmas thing. So they kind of help out with that in the evening. And Miles, one of our younger ones, like he was literally there, and if the microphone's the elf, he's kind of going. So I'm not touching him. I'm not. Look, I'm really close. And I was like, don't do it. But yeah.
Well, it's funny in my house because we've got the elf on the shelf all dressed in black, which we
Where
call
did
the
you
bad
get that
elf.
one?
I found that in a shop in York.
Was it just randomly in a shop?
Just randomly in a shop. They also had Snoop on a stoop, which is Snoop Dogg. It's the same body, but just with Snoop Dogg's head on it. And then they've also got a green-bodied one with the Grinch's head on it.
Oh, cool.
And it was called the Grinch in a Cinch.
I want to grab a different one because we've got like the red one, but I want to grab like a black one or a green one or something and just wreak havoc. Like,
well, so I got the black one, and that is the only one I'm allowed to mess with. Paige says that is the naughty elf, so I'm allowed to mess with that one. But this stupid little love thing, this stupid little thing is the one I have to move every night.
We went
to to do with it.
We went to a garden centre thing today, like a bit of a Christmas day out, and we did a virtual sleigh ride, which was really quite cool. It was like a virtual reality. We all sat on the sleigh, it moved, and the fans, and it was really cool. And then they had these elves that were like obviously intending to be Elf on the Shelf, but they weren't, and they looked really evil. Like they looked creepy. They had little hands, their ears were really pointy and everything like that. And like my eldest Josh was like, "Oh yeah, look at this," we were like taking a mic to like Miles and that. And then I was like, mate, you've done it now. Like I said, you've seen Child's Play. Well, he hasn't seen Child's Play, but I was like, that's coming for you now, mate. And then I took one and I hid it. And then everywhere we went in the shop, it was just there, sat next to him. I went, Josh, like, it's there, mate. And then the best bit, and like Miles, like our youngest, was cracking up. He thought this was so funny. They had all the name plates with like the magnets that you can get.
Yeah.
And I said to Miles, and we stuck it next to Josh's name. And as he's turned it around looking for his name, the elf just comes past. We got home, my daughter said, "You bought that, didn't you?" And I was like, "No." I said, "I really wish I had now," because I was just at that point where I think he was getting freaked out. But yeah.
Mate. No, we go to that stupid Sundown Adventureland every year. I went as a kid, and as a kid when I went, it was new and it was nice and it was all plush and lovely. Then we started taking Paige when she was little, and they hadn't touched it since the 90s. It's run down and it looks like you can see the metalwork coming through on some of the animatronics now. It looks horrible. But like we went the other year, and it was literally like Five Nights at Freddy's. You're going through. There's Santa animatronic, and you can hear the gears on it going. As it's moving, and I just looked a little bit. This is really horrible, but we're still booked for this year. Liz's like, we're going back to the horrible theme park. I'm like, yeah, we're going back to the horrible theme park.
Gotta be done.
Stupid tradition now.
Yeah, it's gotta be done. Gotta be done. Did we have any other toys drop? Was that the creme de la creme?
Jacob Marley was like the creme de la creme, but there was another little drop that came after that. But it was just Kota Bukiya.
No.
So Kota Bukiya make those like female statues that are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like they made a Chucky that's like a girl Chucky that's like it's like an anime sexy Chucky, if we will. And they've got like a Tiffany, and they've made other ones. Well, they've released that they're going to do a Star Trek horror. So not sure if we can even show it, so I won't bother. It looks that bad and risque.
Really?
Yeah, the dress is really short on it. Yeah,
I've seen that.
Yeah, they make really weird statues from Japan, but yeah.
Okay, each to their own.
That was the only other thing, and other than that, we just had a bunch of trailers drop literally out of nowhere.
Let's talk about these trailers. There were tons. So let's go through them in order, just for anyone that hasn't seen them. They're all readily available on YouTube. You can go and check them out.
Did you keep a list of the ones that I sent you?
Yeah, let's have a look.
Tick them off because I don't want to miss any.
Let's go through Ted, obviously the first one.
I actually laughed at that trailer. I didn't think I was going to. I thought it was good.
I thought it was really good. I think it actually looks quite good for a prequel. So basically, in a nutshell, this is the kind of the high school years of when Ted meets I can't remember the name of Mark Wahlberg's character.
No idea.
But it's obviously a younger version, so it's not Mark Wahlberg. But he sounds like him, doesn't he? He's like
he sounds like him, but I always got annoyed at that movie because Mark Wahlberg was clearly putting on that Boston accent.
Yeah.
So it always sounded like teddy bear. It always sounded a bit off. Me and my teddy bear. So
it just looks really good. So it's the first time that they kind of start doing all the things that they associate to in the films. But I like it. I like the look of it. I don't know. I didn't think I wanted a Ted prequel series, but
I didn't think we needed it until it was the bit where he was on about leaving school as a virgin, and Ted starts going fresh quality beers, and that just set me off absolutely. I thought it was great.
It was.
That's just pure Seth MacFarlane. That.
Yeah, it's very Seth MacFarlane, isn't it? Which I like. I've always found his stuff very funny. I just think Family Guy kind of got a bit dry, and it was just a little bit repetitive. Where Ted, I really liked. I liked the films for the stupidness of them. And I think this looks good. So it's out on Peacock. I don't know how that will come out over here because I know. Do we have Peacock?
We do have Peacock. You can get Peacock, but usually it gets spread out between the likes of Amazon Now TV and all the ones we have readily available. Like a lot of the Hulu stuff ended up coming to Disney Plus, and then they also came to Now TV as well. So it just seems to get shared around. So it will appear to us in some form or another. Usually Amazon Prime is a good shout.
Yeah. So that'll
they
be
tend to get everything.
That's coming out soon. Fallout. There's been a lot of talk about the Fallout trailer.
I'm looking forward to that. That looks good.
Hands up, I've never played Fallout.
Oh, sacrilege.
Never played it. It was one of them games that came out when I was working at Game, and I was always kind of, I need to get around to playing this. And so
you know
many.
The idea of Fallout, then, though, don't you? You know the idea of the storyline and stuff, like what it's meant to be.
Yeah. So it's and there's so many iconic there's so much iconic imagery that goes with Fallout that even if you're not like a Fallout fan, you recognize a Fallout product or you recognize a Fallout sort of franchise. The
only thing they missed for me was not including the Vault Boy, the little statue of the Vault Boy and stuff, because that was kind of like the big thing of Fallout was always that artwork of the boy doing the the cheesy pose, and I want to see that.
But I wonder whether that's going to be in there somewhere. They just didn't give it to us in the trailer. That was my take on it, that it will be in there somewhere because, as you say, it's so iconic that a lot of people recognize that imagery, especially. They have to include it somewhere. But
this was also called the tease. Sorry, man, I can keep cutting you off.
No, go for it.
This was also the teaser trailer, not the main trailer. This was just the teaser reel.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a full trailer. Yeah, it was long. So there's going to be a full trailer with a storyline somewhere. But it seems to be that we're following her. She's the Vault girl that's leaving the Vault for the first time, and it's her story. Because basically in Fallout, as you know, like people have never played it, you play as a character from the Vault, and it's your leaving the Vault. You've escaped for the first time and seeing the world as it's become. And it's a futuristic look from a 1950s perspective. So it might. I always say if you look at like Tomorrowland in Disneyland, it's that kind of. It's a futuristic look from the past. So it's like all the music's like oldie world kind of music. Like it's all like your Rat Packs and your sort of crooner music and like old school kind of 1950s tunes.
And there's a lot of kind of post-apocalyptic Western
themes to it,
isn't there? Yeah. So, but I think that they captured that all right. I can't remember the geezer without the nose.
Yeah, I
can't remember his name, but you see him in the trailer, and everyone's kind of praising how like accurate he looks. I think it looks good. I do think it looks good, and I'm pleased that they don't seem to be going down a direct spin on the game, like if that makes sense. Like they're not just doing a straight.
Well, they can't really because the game doesn't really have a linear story. That was the whole point. It's like Skyrim. It's one of those where you pick it up and you make your own path. You can basically go to any the missions at any point in any order. You can just turn up, but you'll be completely the wrong level for it. But you'll just rock up and be in like the wrong zone, you'll get murdered and have to try and fight your way back. And it's just a good all-round game, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this adapted to a movie.
Yeah, I think it looks really good. I'm really excited. I love a post-apocalyptic show, film, like a zombie-esque. Like I love all that kind of stuff. Even though we are absolutely flooded with different properties, the fact that we're getting something that looks kind of new looks very good.
Well, yeah, because in Fallout, there's no zombies as such, really. It's not like a zombie thing. It's giant rats, giant monsters, and just other humans that have survived. It's the
bugs,
humanity itself.
It just, and that's what I like. I love a monster creature, I love a monster feature, I love a zombie feature. Like, so to get those kind of post-apocalyptic, big mutant creatures, all that kind of stuff, like, it's
by the creators of The Boys, so I think we're going to see it as it should, because like in the game you do that thing where you can slow down time to like do he uses his Vault pip machine on his arm basically, and you can like directly aim for the head if you've got enough PP to do so, and basically he'll just pull his gun and will blast the head off. And I think we'll see things like that in the film, in the TV series, because of the way they sort of showed like heads just obliterating and things like that. That is literally straight from the game.
I think if they utilize that, like with the guys from The Boys behind it, I'm all here for it anyway.
Yeah.
But I think if they utilize that, it could potentially do what like the Matrix kind of bullet time did back then.
Yeah.
To see this kind of new way of provide, like, obviously not new for anyone that's played the game, but from a cinematic point of view, this new kind of style, I think it would be quite well received. That's my opinion anyway. I'm really excited for that one. You mentioned obviously House of Dragons season 2. We saw a trailer
sizzle reel for that, didn't we?
I loved season 1, and I was surprised. I didn't think I was going to, because it's obviously a spin-off of Game of Thrones. But watching the trailer, I couldn't remember how it ended.
I was watching it thinking, I'm there thinking, I really have no clue what happened in this thing.
Yeah.
I remember Matt Smith and her leaving together and like having their dodgy incestual relationship.
Yeah.
That.
And I remember them having the dragons, and the dragons kind of becoming like attuned to certain people and the younger siblings and stuff. But I was like, I need to go back and watch at least the last couple of episodes of season 1 before season 2 comes out, because it looks big, it looks cinematic, it looks cool. Like it's dragons and swords, like it's everything that you would expect from a Game of Thrones franchise. The boys.
Yeah.
The boys. One of my favorites at the moment. I absolutely love the boys. We've obviously just completed Gen V, which is the kind of spin-off from the boys. But for anyone that didn't see it, there was a very big kind of post-credit teaser at the end of it that leads directly into the boys. So it kind of brings the two together. Yeah.
I need to sit down and watch Gen V then.
Yeah, it's nothing like yeah, watch it. I don't want to give too much away, because there's still people out there that haven't seen it, but yeah, it brings it together right up at the last minute, brings it all together. So I'll be really interested to see whether the things from Gen V that are related are part of this new series of the boys, or whether we're going to have to wait for the next series of the boys to bring those two together. I've got a sneaking suspicion that series 4 of the boys will be related to Gen V to an extent.
For me, from what I took from the trailer for season 4, it seems to be that we're going to get a bit of a play on the Civil War kind of storyline, because it looks like it's the trial of Homelander. We saw the thing for that. He's going to court and stuff, and that was kind of like how the whole Civil War thing started, wasn't it? It was a court case because humans got hurt by superheroes. So I think there's going to be that kind of an element behind it. Yeah. And there's like riots, but like the humans all choosing who they want to side with, and it's that kind of thing. It looks really cool though.
Triple G Comics is in the chat, and he just said, "I demand more Muppet scenes." And if you've not seen Gen V, watch Gen V and you'll know exactly what he means. But I agree, I love the Muppet scenes. It was a way of making some really, really hyper violent scenes look soft and cuddly. But you have to watch it. It's messed up. But yeah, it didn't really show much, did it? It didn't give too much away. It, like you say, it just kind of it's obviously going to be around the trial of Homelander and what's going on. We have got what's his name in it? I can't remember his name.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan,
yes, who we have currently in Negan. He's in Dead City on the Walking Dead spin-off. But he's just a force to be reckoned with. To have him alongside the characters and the actors in the boys, I think is going to be good fun. I think it is. I think he's going to bring something to it.
Do you know what it will never happen in a million years. It will never happen. But do you know what I would love more than anything is just to see him to put on the suit for the comedian, and just bring the comedian into, because the Watchmen would fit into that universe so easily because of the hyper violence, and it would literally slot in so well. And you could just imagine the comedian siding with them, can't you? Really,
I'm surprised we haven't had a revisit somehow of
it'll happen. We had that weird spin-off series that really tried to be more political than anything, and it didn't really work for it. But I think the Watchmen, they could definitely, if they took the people that made the boys maybe and let them run with it, they could have fun with it.
That's that you got me thinking now. But again, Triple G in the comics in the chat said he should have been Thomas Wayne in Flashpoint. I agree. 100%. We had him there. He'd already been the character. They could have had him as that in Flashpoint. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for the boys. I think that's the one I'm most favorite. Like I'm most looking forward to. The Book of Clarence.
That was so cool. I love the look at that. I don't know what. I'm not sure if it's meant to be a comedy, but I was laughing my ass about it.
Yeah, I didn't know whether it was like a real story, whether it was this is just a movie, but it basically someone that just pretends to be the next Jesus, doesn't he?
Well, Jesus is there. You see Jesus in this trailer. That hooded guy that you don't see his face is meant to be Jesus, I believe.
And this Clarence guy basically goes, "I could do that."
He's basically a con man. Yeah,
conning people that he's the next Messiah. It kind of had Life of Brian vibes about it, but in a serious way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely has that, and it's got a lot of comedians in it as well. There's a lot of black comedians in there that it's going to be a good story as that.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. It looked like a really good film, but I came off of the trailer just kind of thinking this feels like a dramatic version of Life of Brian.
Yeah.
Like that's like a Hollywood blockbuster version of Life of Brian.
Modernized. Yeah, I liked the bit where he's got his mate pretending to be dead on the floor and he brings him back to life.
Yeah, and he pretends to be blind. Like he takes a blindfold. Like it just looks brilliant. But it does. I wonder whether there's going to be an element of similar to that Ricky Gervais, the of Lion film, The Invention of Lying, or that. Do you know what I'm talking about? I wonder whether this Book of Clarence is going to have an element of kind of like questions about it, kind of like, you know, is this easy for this guy to pretend? Like, had someone else pretended or something like that? Do you know what I mean? I do wonder whether there's a deeper level to it.
Yeah, did you notice the names in the trailer? Did you notice who was in it, but we didn't really see, or I didn't notice that we saw in the actual trailer?
No.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, really?
Benedict Cumberbatch's name is all over the posters, and his name showed up in the trailer, but we didn't see him in the trailer. I'm wondering whether Benedict Cumberbatch is Jesus, because he's the only hooded character we didn't see, and they put his name in the trailer. I mean, he's there somewhere, so I'm assuming it's the hooded guy.
Possibly.
That would be cool, because his voice coming out of to be Jesus would be amazing. Just all deep and godly.
Possibly. And then the last two were a little bit sideways. So we had the Suicide Squad anime. Didn't appeal to me at all.
No, it's all in Japanese. I'll lose interest very quickly.
Yeah, I watched
Ryan would be here being shouting at us right now, but yeah, that would be one that I'd have to really struggle to watch. I
liked the visions, the Star Wars visions. I liked that kind of transferred into anime and that, but the Suicide Squad, I don't know, it just didn't work for me. I don't know. I'll watch it. King Shark came out. That was quite cool. I like the look of King Shark. I like the kind of stylized look of it, but it wasn't for me at all. But then random Fortnite and Lego. It was like a crossover that I never expected.
So basically, Fortnite's new season 5 came out last night. I'm not sure if your lads were playing it, but basically I think 7 o'clock was the last time you could log in, and Eminem was the big guest at the end. Yeah, you saw the meteor hit the map, and Eminem put on a concert for us for the end of the world. And then basically everything went black for about 12 hours, and then we got the new season. And when it came on, we had Fortnite Lego, Fortnite Rocket League, basically, and a bunch of other stuff that's going to be included in the new Fortnite game. So Fortnite have spent ages making Lego versions of most of their skins. I think they've got the first 200 skins done already in Lego form. So you can try and hopefully play as any character you want. And it's basically just the same Fortnite game, but just in Lego, just Lego style. And I'm hoping this is the start of Fortnite working with Lego better, because I would love Fortnite Lego sets.
I think
a Lego version of the Battle Bus or something like that would be amazing.
I think they're coming. I think it looks too in keeping with Lego crossovers. When you see the Lego crossovers, like the branding of it all and everything, it's not just a quick, I will do a Lego map for a season. Like, I think there's more to it. And if you actually think about it from a merchandise point of view, Fortnite merchandise, apart from Nerf, hasn't done overly well. Like, it's not the best. Like, Hasbro had it, Jax had it, there was another one that had it as well. I can't remember the action figures.
Imagine if they Jax and then Hasbro.
There was another one though. There is another one.
Oh, Jazzwares
had it as well. And they've not really done very well. However, Lego sets of Fortnite, I could see flying off the shelf.
And Lego would like to start doing that thing where they're introducing QR codes and trying to get people to use the phone things. Can you imagine if they had skins that you could only get from the Lego store, and then you have to buy the Lego set to get the skin in game, or with every Lego set you got V-Bucks, something like that to keep the kids wanting to buy the sets. That'd be awesome.
There's a lot of potential there, a lot of potential for that crossover, and I think that the cool thing about the Lego crossovers is that you can buy a product that is a franchise, whether it's Star Wars, Marvel, Fortnite, but it's a Lego version. So you're not, it's not like with the Fortnite action figures, you're essentially buying action figure forms of the computer game characters. A lot of people that play the computer game wouldn't want to buy an action figure of these characters, but a Lego set, that's a totally different ballgame. Like that's you're buying a Lego set of something you like. And I think the Fortnite could really cash in on this one, like massively cash in.
I think because I think basically Fortnite have seen how much money Lego have made for Minecraft, because the Minecraft Lego is stupidly popular.
Prime example, isn't it? Like the Minecraft Lego is, like you say, just
flying off the shelves.
Flies off, doesn't it? And I think I'm just checking the list now. I think that was it.
Yeah,
I think that was all the ones you sent over. There's also a trailer bouncing around for the Walking Dead Rick and Michonne show. And there's also the Godzilla vs. Kong New Empire trailer out there as well now. So they're out there. Godzilla -1 as well is out.
That's out now, yeah.
I've seen a few figures popping up, a few like
Super 7, I think, have announced theirs now.
Yeah, I need a good Godzilla, so I think I'm gonna have to jump on board at some point.
Monster Arts.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to get one.
There's a little bit that wants to get the little plastic Toho ones, the ones that are from Japan. They're like the old style, they're just solid plastic, but they're like so nostalgically Japanese. I like them.
And that's what -1's supposed to kind of be, isn't it? It's supposed to be like a modern version of the classic.
The classic version, yeah.
So yeah, I'm really here for that.
I'm hoping this is a start of a new franchise for Toho. I'm hoping they stick with it, and that if this one does well, then we might start seeing all the other ones. You like the Giga Monster and the four-headed dragon and all the other ones that pop up over the years, and the Mothman, and because I've got the Monster Art shelf. And I've got most of them now. I'm only missing 2.
Yeah, I need a Godzilla. I do need a Godzilla. I've got a couple of like the Pacific Rim figures. Like I could have a Godzilla up there. However, Monarch, I know we talked about that briefly last week or the week before. I don't know if you've caught it yet, but they are.
Sit and watch them. I've got them all sat waiting. I just need to sit and watch.
They are definitely building that franchise. They are definitely building that universe up. And I'll be interested to see where we go next. For obviously we've got Godzilla and Kong, but I wonder what's next after that, because Monarch feels like it's building something. It doesn't feel like just a filler until that film. I feel that it's building something bigger.
Well, Mechagodzilla was in the last one, and they ripped that apart in seconds while beating each other up. So I mean, they can't just have another slower knocker between the two, because that's boring. We've already seen that now. So they need another bigger monster. So I'm wondering whether it could be the big, I can never remember its name. The big four-headed dragon. I wonder if it could be something like that. King Ghidorah. Is it Ghidorah?
I can never pronounce the names.
King Ghidorah. But something like that.
Mothra for me was always the one. As a kid, watching that on the old school films, like Mothra always comes to mind, and he's like one of the rubbish ones in comparison. Let's be honest.
Gamera or Gamera, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but the little snapping turtle one, he was always my favorite.
Yeah.
Ferocious Godzilla.
Speaking of which, like I really liked Rampage. Remember that film with Dwayne The Rock Johnson? I loved that film.
Oh no, not the film. No, sorry, I'm not.
The game. Not
the film. The game is.
The game was fantastic, but I liked the film. It was like I was watching it. I was like, this feels like a cheap rip-off of Godzilla, and I kind of like it. I kind of guilty pleasure like it. Like
for me, I would still love them to go back and let Netflix or someone do a CGI TV series based on Rampage, the video game. Where you have them in the stupid, like ridiculous colors, like I remember like Ralph, was it called Ralph the Wolf, and he was in like bright blue originally in the game. He was a bright blue furry wolf, And then they changed him to brown later on because Kong was brown. So they couldn't have the same color schemes.
Yeah.
And then you had Lizzie, who was bright green to sort of like be like a Godzilla kind of thing. And I remember playing that game. Me and my friend, I had an accident when I was younger, and I had I fell out the house onto some milk bottles. Let's put it that way. And I had about 50 stitches in my leg. Yeah, I couldn't have landed on the fake one. No, too easy for that. I had to land on the real one. So I'm there with two legs up in the air.
That is really milking it, if you excuse the pun. But if you fell on the fake leg and then you still had to have stitches, I'm off. I've got to have stitches.
I had to have like 3 months off school. It was ridiculous. I had ridiculous amount of stitches in my leg. Then I was sat up for months, and I remember my friend. I had an N64, and he came round to my house and just went, "Mate, rampage time," and he just plugged it in and plugged his controller in it, and we sat there for about 6 days straight. Just
that's fantastic.
Blowing up the world.
Here's a little bit of a fact. I haven't ever had, touch wood, a single stitch.
Damn you! And I've had my share of about 1 million stitches.
I've never had a stitch. I've never broken a bone.
Wow.
Yeah. I am basically the opposite of Mr. Glass. I'm like unbreakable. Like, no, I shouldn't say that.
Don't say that. Touch some wood, man. Don't do that.
Power tools. Like, that's not good. Not good mix.
Your thumb's gone tomorrow.
There you go. It's like circular saw off my hand or something. But anyway.
Have you picked anything up this week?
I don't think I have.
You saw what I got this week, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I'm just trying. I don't actually think I have. I got my. Did when Memesco Ghost Rider come? That was last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, you showed that off. Sadly, you've used that one. Next.
Yeah, no, I haven't. What I have got. Oh no, I got the power coins sent to me, but I showed you those. They were quite cool from Zavi. And I know that I've got cable next week. I've got Hot Toys cable coming. I've got Hot Toys Iron Spider from the game. It's like the comic book version, and I've got the Marvel Legends No Way Home figures. So that's all next week. But then literally all I got this week was the power coins. They are quite cool. They are quite cool. Let me just show you quickly. So they're proper coins. They're in like little coin, like what do you call them? Like protectors. But you can open them up, and they're like proper metal coins. And on one side you've got like the power coin, and on the other side you've got the corresponding kind of Ranger.
That's cool.
But they're cool. They are cool, and they're heavy. Like they're a decent. They make a coin. I dropped it now.
No.
What did you get?
So I was very excited because my out of stock thing email came in from Smiths, and they were like, "We have them back in stock." I'm like, "Yay!" So went to go and pick up my Five Nights at Freddy's Christmas editions. We've got Chica as a snowman, we've got Freddy as Santa, Bonnie as an elf, and Gingerbread Foxy. So I grabbed those. I couldn't resist. It's Christmas. I can't not review them. So
no,
they need opening on my channel with all my Five Nights stuff.
That is cool, but they don't feature as Christmas versions in the game, do they?
Mate, the merchandising doesn't feature in half of the video games. They just like to merchandise. I don't blame them. They make silly money out of the merch. So every year they make a Christmas version and they make a Halloween version. So it's a bit like the droids from Star Wars. They do the same thing. Every year they release a corresponding seasonal droid. I mean, I'm all for that kind of crap because you don't see not many lines do it anymore. Not many people make the holiday specials. So
no,
I like those. But I have to show this off because for all our UK followers, Sainsbury's. You know, I was thinking about getting the Jurassic Park Legos.
Yeah.
16 quid.
Oh wow!
So it's dropped heavily in the sales at the minute. So I've got the Dennis Nedry pack so far. The cheapest I found the Triceratops pack. You know, with the big pile of shit. That one is £30 on Amazon right now. So that's the cheapest I found. That one.
Cool. How many are there in total?
4. There's this is the cheapest. This is the middle one. Then you've got the one up from that is the Triceratops. Then they've got the big pack, and then the little pack was the bike. It's the Velociraptor with Ellie on a bike.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I had the cafeteria scene. You know, they did that one a little while back.
Yeah.
I had that one, and I had the big T-Rex with the gates when they released that. That was a few years back, about 3 or 4 years back.
Lego Ideas right now. There's a guy who's made Tim. I can never remember the girl's name, and Dr. Alan Grant, and it's on the electric fence. And he's built the wall. They've built the you lace it. They've built the wall of the electric fence, and they've got her at the bottom, Tim at the top, and there's a little switch that says on and off, and the little green light, red light, and he's made the whole scene in Lego, and that's got onto Lego Ideas, and it's getting a lot of votes very quickly. A lot of people said they would buy that and has that as a little set.
Well, the
It's an iconic scene.
The Nightmare Before Christmas idea set passed, didn't it? But we've not heard any. I thought they would have kind of rushed to get that out.
They would have to. I think just because it's been announced on Lego Ideas, I think they have to get it past the licenses at Disney because it's a Disney license.
I just thought with it being the 30th anniversary, it would have been.
Disney would want to rush it out as well. Yeah,
that's what I thought they would, because with all the merchandise that was coming out for MBX, I thought that they would really push that one through. But haven't. Cool. Let's talk MCU. Let's talk about our MCU stuff. We've got about half hour left of the show, but I feel that we do have to make a little bit of an announcement because stuff has started being posted now, and it's kind of official about us, the first kind of part of our tour. So this isn't the first leg of our tour, but this is one of the things that we are definitely doing. So in March, Saturday the 30th of March 2024, we will be going to Figure Collectors at the Bolton Stadium Hotel. That is how you say it, isn't it? Bolton. I got told off by my northern, because I was like Bolton, and I'm like, that's not Bolton.
Bolton.
And I was like, because it's up north.
Imagine that final O is not there. Bolton.
Bolton. So we are. So Geek Week podcast is on tour in 2024, and we are definitely going to be at Figure Collectors. They have a Facebook page. Go over and check them out. You can get tickets to the event and all the rest of it via their Facebook page, their Eventbrite page, and whatnot. We will definitely be talking about this in the coming weeks, coming months, because it's quite a way away. But we've been talking to the guys there, and we're really excited. So we're going to be on a panel. Both SuperSorrell and myself will be on a panel, but then we're also going to do an episode of Geek Week while we're there. So that week's corresponding episode will be
live
at the con. So yes, it's really cool, and we've got Thew there as well. Obviously known from Hasbro Pulse and Transformers and his own channels and stuff. So he's going to be there as well. And it's going to be cool. It's going to be a good day, I reckon. I'm really excited for it. But keep an eye on their Facebook page because they're announcing things all the time. And obviously the progression of the convention. So let's talk MCU then. Let's talk MCU. So we said we were going to rank all of the Marvel MCU movies and shows, and then we realized how many there were and how much of it we did. So
it made me genuinely realize that actually 90% of the actual MCU movies I'm not a massive fan of.
No, I agree. I'm just checking my list now. Hang on.
Has he got 20? Let's see.
I have. I've actually gone further than 20. But I've got 20. Hang on. Let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Oh, right. Okay. I'll take that one off. Right. Okay.
So, yeah, we decided basically to do our top 20 tonight rather than do the entire ranking because it would take forever. So we decided our top 20, and basically I think we should take it one at a time. You should say your 20, I should say my 20, and we'll discuss it along the route.
Yeah, that's fine. Now the way that we compiled this is there is so much. When you think about Marvel, you think about all sorts of stuff, and obviously things like Deadpool for the moment is having a lot of traction, but that's not technically classed as MCU until Deadpool 3. So Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2 don't fall into this. There's also all the one-shots that came out, like The Consultant, Item 47, Agent Carter one-shot, all that kind of stuff that were kind of the original little like
They were
DVD.
called webisodes back then, weren't they? Like webisodes, I think they're called.
Yeah. And then they included them as DVD extras when certain films came out. So we've not included any of those. You got seven seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We didn't include those, although that was originally a massive part of the MCU at the beginning. It was the kind of universal part of it, wasn't it? Where it kind of they kind of tied it in with the movies, but then drifted away from it. And then obviously we've got a handful of shows that we haven't included. So things like Agent Carter, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Punisher, Defenders, Inhumans, Runaways, Cloak and Dagger, all of those things that technically come under the Marvel Studios, Marvel Television banner, we've not included. So where are we going to go? We're going to go 20 down to 1.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 20. Now, I don't know if we're going to agree with this. My number 20 is Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 1. July 2014. Reason being is I love the Guardians of the Galaxy film, but there were other things that came out that kind of knocked it further down. That's how I'd done mine, is I put things up and then I was like, oh, actually that's better than this, or not, you know. So Guardians of the Galaxy pulled in at my number 20.
For me, number 20 was the Loki television series.
Interesting.
So what I've done is I'm not sure how you did it, but when I was looking at the TV series, if it's like Loki's got series 1 and 2, I'm declaring Loki as number 20. Both seasons sit at 20. So like I haven't sort of separated it as like Loki season 2 is going to be higher up or something. That's Loki as a whole, number 20.
So Loki, for example, has 2 seasons. WandaVision has 1 season, but you're classing it as Loki or WandaVision because I see it very much as a continuation, isn't it? With a TV show, it's not like the movies where it's like separate movies. A TV show is a continuation of a story. So
to be honest, because to be honest, just to back this up, if it was only season 1, it wouldn't have made my list. It would have been lower down. Season 2 saved Loki a lot for me, and I like the redemption part of his storyline. He finally got his kind of hero's badge at the very last minute, which I like.
Glorious purpose and all that.
His glorious purpose,
cool.
Love that.
Okay, controversially at number 19 for me is Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Ooh.
People hate it, but I was in it. So because I was an extra in it, it's always going to have a place in my top 20 because I met the characters, I was on set. It's a part of the Marvel universe that I was a part of, which is a really random thing to kind of say out loud, but it was, and so I've always enjoyed it for like in a really guilty pleasure kind of way. But also I really loved Ultron. I think that Ultron, I don't think they did the best with him, but I think as a villain, I think he was a good one. But yeah,
Far From Home.
Oh,
it's Spider-Man, but it's not my favorite Spider-Man. I like the Spider movies, but I don't think it's a perfect trilogy.
Far From Home.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite one.
You know what? Didn't make my top 20.
Wow. Okay.
Far From Home didn't make my top 20.
This is going to be an interesting 20. This is going to be an interesting ride.
Yeah, it didn't make my top 20. Reason being, I think it was my least favorite of the 3.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's a bad one, but it was my least favorite.
Yeah. The whole thing that's just Mysterio. Though I wish they'd have done more with him to make him more like the movie versions.
Yep. That was it for me. Is I loved the look, I loved the portrayal, I loved Jake Gyllenhaal and all that stuff. I thought it was brilliant. I just didn't like the spin they put on him. Yeah. I wanted him to be more like the comic books.
Yeah, same.
But there we go. Okay. Number 18 for me. Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness.
Woo!
Yeah. Mainly for the Illuminati scene.
Oh, really? For that? Because of that?
The main part that pulled it in for me. I enjoyed it as a film, but I was a bit bored of the multiverse element at that point. It was kind of like, you know what, if this had come earlier on, if this was Doctor Strange 1, I think it would have blown up. It would have been amazing. But for me, I was kind of like, you know what, I knew it was too predictable. I knew what was coming, all that kind of stuff. But that Illuminati scene, because I'd avoided spoilers and I'd avoided any kind of leaks, when that happened, it was a real pop moment for me. And I was like, this is awesome. So that's how I put mine on it. Is that what emotional kind of response did I have at the time when I watched it for the first time? So yeah, 18 for me was Multiverse of Madness, and it's
Moon
Sam
Knight.
Raimi. So Moon Knight.
Moon Knight for me.
Moon Knight. That's low.
It's very low for Moon Knight. I like it. Was all right. I liked it. It was fun. It's not my favorite MCU thing, but I know I'm staying. There's a reason why I'm staying quiet on some of your choices as well, because they're higher on my list.
Okay. What are we on now? 17?
17.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's low.
You reckon?
Let's go through my list. Yeah.
Only because I liked it, but there was a better Spider-Man film in the trilogy for me.
Obviously. Yeah.
So it pushed it down, and then because of that, I think if it was on its own, if there wasn't the other two films, I think it would have been higher up. But because it was part of a trilogy, it kind of pushed things down. And then I also think about rewatch value on it, and it's one that at the time I rewatched it a couple of times, but I wouldn't necessarily go back and go, "Oh, I'm going to watch Homecoming now." Like I've done it, I've watched it.
Okay, 17. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Oh, interesting.
I like Guardians of the Galaxy, but the Volume 2 is my least of the favorite of the three.
Oh, so the other two are in there.
The other two are in there. They're just higher up. Yeah, but Volume 2 was my least favorite of the three. The only thing that saves Volume 2 for me is Baby Groot. Baby Groot just saves the show. But I thought Volume 2 was okay. I didn't like the Ego story.
Okay.
I wasn't a fan of Ego.
Okay, that's that. Okay, I'll get you on that one. I'll let you have that. That's fine. What are we on now? 16.
16.
Iron Man 1.
Ooh.
Iron Man 1 has to be in there. Like for me, it had to be in the top 20, just because I kept putting it in, I kept taking it out, but it was kind of like, you know what? Again, the emotional response at the time, rewatch value, all that kind of stuff. It was the starting block, and it was a good starting block. So, it had to be in there for me.
This whole listing has elements of when me and David tried to do the top 100 Marvel Legends, and we were just sat there having the most difference of opinions ever. Because Iron Man's not even made my list.
Really? Wow.
Not even in there.
Wow.
My 16, Thor: Love and Thunder.
What? Love and Thunder?
I didn't mind Love and Thunder. I didn't think it was that bad. It got a lot of hate. I don't know why. It was all right. It wasn't the best adaptation of that story, but certain things made it for me, like the stupid goats and with the hammer slowly keep randomly appearing into shot and things like that. It was the daft Thor humor that made me laugh. And we finally got to see Jane Foster, and I'm glad that they did stick with the cancer storyline, and I like the fact that she sacrificed at the end, and it was a good story.
I really enjoyed it, and I've watched it more than once. I think I've watched it 2 or 3 times, to be fair.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of elements of it, but there was just some of the jokes were just a little bit too much. I was just kind of, I didn't need a joke there. Like that bit didn't need a joke. But I did enjoy it. Just didn't make my top 20. What number are we on now? 15. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Ooh.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I really loved it. I think it would have gone higher on my list, but there were things that pushed it down. But I just think, because I think when you're coming into, the reason it makes high on my list is the portrayals for me were all spot on. They were really, really good. There was enough jokes in it, but it was a seriousness in it. And I think when you're coming in as a new character to a franchise that's so oversaturated, to be able to make your mark within one film as a standalone film takes some doing. And I think they really did knock that on the head. And it gave us a different element. It was that martial arts element of the MCU, which we haven't really had properly. Like Iron Fist didn't count. It wasn't the same. It wasn't. Whereas Shang-Chi really hit the nail on the head, I thought.
Not even in my top 20. Right. 15, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Whoa, didn't make my top 20.
Yeah, for me, I like Cassie. I like the introduction of her character, like as an adult, as like a more mature character, and I like the fact that they took us to a different world. It felt a bit fresher than Ant-Man and the Wasp was so dull. Ant-Man and the Wasp is not my favorite, but the Quantumania saved that franchise for me, and it went back to the kind of silly humor as well.
Yeah.
And I liked the introduction of the random stupid little aliens, like the other little people that were in that universe. They were all very unique and different looking, and it just took a bit of a playful, it had fun again, without being too over dramatic. Because at that point, everything was getting very dark and serious and brooding. And
I think the only thing that really let it down, not for me personally, I really did enjoy it, just didn't make it into my top 20. I think it would have been around my 21, 22 kind of mark anyway. But I think that the shadow over it was the whole Kang thing and the Jonathan Majors and that stuff. It kind of grouped it into a bracket that was a little bit awkward at the time. So yeah. But no, that's cool. I'll give you that. 14, Avengers, aka Avengers Assemble. The first one, number one, numero uno. There's a lot to be said about that first scene where you see Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man. You've got these three that have had their own trilogies, their own films, and they're all stood there and they kind of face off, and it's gonna be something. I just think it worked. Really worked.
Okie dokie. Higher on my list. A lot higher on my list.
Okay.
No, I can't agree with that. I'll come to that later on. A lot of the ones that you're talking about, I'll talk about later. Next for me at 13 was Endgame.
What? Endgame's at 13.
I liked Infinity War better, which is higher up, but Endgame is like its own standalone movie. At that point, I was already over the whole. It's like we'll come to Infinity War that a bit later on, but I mean Endgame, we were already over that part of it, and I didn't think that it was as strong as the first part. It was a second part of a 2-part movie, and I didn't think it was the strongest half of the film.
No,
in my opinion.
Fair play. Well, I'll talk about that one later. Next on my list, which is number 14, WandaVision.
WandaVision.
WandaVision, just because it was that original market employer for Disney Plus, wasn't it? Come to Disney Plus, we've got all these shows coming on. WandaVision was there. It's the first kind of, if you want to make sense of what's going on in the movies, you need to watch these TV shows, and they're going to be on Disney Plus. And it just, the hype that went with it week in, week out is unmatched. Like, we've not had that yet with another TV show for Marvel. And I think it executed well. It was a very well executed show. I think White Vision, like the two of those was really cool. And obviously it goes Agatha. So yeah, so that made that. It didn't go higher on my list because the rewatch value again, once you've watched it a couple of times.
Yeah, admittedly you can't. It's not one you can revisit.
No. So it's yeah, it was good. It's got a bit of rewatch value. The hype was real at the time. But yeah, my 14.
For me, 14. No, 12, innit? 12.
12, sorry.
12 is Guardians of the Galaxy, the numero uno.
Okay, so we both made top 20 for both of us. That's fine.
Yeah. Just because it was the first. I remember at the time that came out, it was the first one where we all went, "Is this one going to be good?" Because everything else at that point we all thought was stellar because it was brand new and it was the Avengers, and this was the first one to step outside the comfort zone, and it worked. And it was now they're just mainstays in the MCU, in the whole Marvel euphoria. Yeah. Like up until that point, no kid on the planet knew who Rocket Raccoon and crew were except diehard nerds. Yeah. And it's cool that those little characters have now become big mainstays in the universe.
Yeah. And I've said quite a few times, like for me, when they announced Guardians of the Galaxy, I was massively disappointed. I was like, don't give us that, give us another hero, give us another. But yeah, I'm a massive Guardians of the Galaxy fan.
I remember my brother getting so excited because we played the Capcom versus Marvel games growing up. Yeah. And obviously Groot and Rocket Raccoon were always in the games as like a special attack. You always saw Rocket Raccoon come flying in with his gun and like shoot him. And so as soon as they announced that there was a movie with Rocket Raccoon out, me and my brother were like, "Oh my god, Rocket Raccoon on the big screen!"
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Just trying to see where we are now.
11.
No, it's this 12.
This is 12, yeah, but you're coming on to your 11th now, aren't you?
No.
Yeah.
No, this is my 12th. I'm sure of it.
No.
Well, then I've got my numbers wrong.
Missed one. You've missed one. You've missed one out. Just keep going. It's fine. You'll be fine. Just keep going.
Hang on. So I did Guardians of the Galaxy 20, Avengers Age of Ultron 19, Doctor Strange 18, Spider-Man 17, Iron Man 16, Shang-Chi 15, Avengers 14, WandaVision 13.
Yeah.
So this is my 12.
All right, okay, yeah. I must have jumped the gun. I've jumped the gun and just talked.
Okay, my 12 is Moon Knight. Because I really liked it at the time, and I love Moon Knight, the character. It's not got a huge amount of rewatch, but it's still one of my favorites. I love the design, I love the execution, and I really hope that they do more with it going forward. I want to see him next side by side with someone else.
Yeah, for me, it was lower on my list just because I like Moon Knight, but I wish we'd have I hope they don't drag it out. Is what I'm trying to say. Season 2, it ends with that cliffhanger at the end.
Yeah,
and you kind of see where they're going to go with it. I would like to have seen them use Moon Knight with somebody else next time, like Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night, or you know what I mean, like throw in some characters from his actual comic books.
I think
rather
they might
than just keep going with the evil version of Mark, or whatever you want to call it, the assassin Mark.
Because he's got his Jake, isn't it? And he's got the
Jake,
third personality in there, which we haven't seen yet. So I think that third personality is going to bring us in with someone else. I think we've established it, and now we're gonna. That's what I'd like to see. But at the moment, I'm just basing it on that first series. It's a big one for me. What's your 12?
So I did my 12, which was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, okay. All right, that was my 12. So then my 11.
Yeah.
Controversially, Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show. I really enjoyed it. It was political. There was a lot of agendas, and people were kind of like, "Oh, this is being pushed and that's being pushed." But I loved the inclusion of US Agent. I think that Wyatt Russell's US Agent was perfectly cringy, and I just love to see that kind of what happens after you lose such a big character like Captain America. Like, who takes that mantle? Like, everyone wanted to see Bucky take it. Obviously, even in the show, no one wanted to see Sam take it. But then we saw this, like the Sam, the Falcon Cap Falcon, whatever you want to call it, suit. There's no denying it. It looked awesome on screen, and it was a payoff at the end. It was like, this looks cool. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I think that it's going to be controversial to say this, but I think that program would have had more weight and would have been heavier if we hadn't have had Black Panther already. Black Panther came about, and it did speak for a lot of people that never had a character like that on screen before, representation and all that.
Yeah.
And I get that feeling behind Black Panther. A lot of people, I remember when it came out, there were a lot of people behind that movie for that reason. And I think the Winter Soldier and Falcon was trying to bring that vibe, because obviously it was about Sam not feeling he's worthy to take the shield, and because of his heritage, and then they started playing on that side of it. And I like them conversations are great, but I think it would have had more weight if we hadn't have already had the Black Panther debate at that point.
Oh, I totally get that. I do get that. And I think that the problem is that when you have stories that are so kind of deeply enriched by comic books and comic book history, when you're getting new fans that are watching it on screen for the first time, they're unaware of those deeper storylines and stuff like that. And Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of addressed a lot of those storylines. They weren't doing anything kind of new. They were just repeating like the Isaiah Bradley storyline. But yet people were like, oh, okay, this is like pushing a an agenda, and it's like, no, it's not. This is very much the storylines in the comic books.
Yeah.
But I agree with what you're saying to that extent of that people felt like it was something being ran down their throat when it really wasn't. It was just that was the story. And
Yeah.
Winter Soldier is one of my favorite characters in Marvel, and especially in the MCU. And to kind of follow his arc, a lot of people don't kind of talk about his arc in it and his kind of redemption arc and stuff. And that was cool. So I'm interested to see where he goes next.
Yeah.
So that was my 11. What was your 11?
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, okay. That was my down there for me.
Yeah, I liked Spider-Man Homecoming. It was the first Spider-Man movie in the MCU, so it was exciting to see that. This movie would have been higher if it wasn't for another movie. This film would have been higher otherwise. But it was cool to get the first MCU Spider-Man movie. And I remember as soon as they announced Tom Holland as Spider-Man and we got to see him, I thought he's still, to me, he still is my favorite Spider-Man now. He's my favorite Spider-Man. I think he embodies it, and the fact that he's an actual fan in real life helps for me. He's a proper fanboy of Spider-Man himself. And I think that's great. So Homecoming.
Come on in, we need to get through this top 10. We're running out of time. My number 10, Loki.
Okay.
For that redemption arc that you talked about, to see the kind of full circle, Richard E. Grant in Lycra, perfect.
10 Infinity War.
Oh, okay.
So I love the movie. It was that for me. It's that final scene with the snap, and some of your beloved characters disappeared. And at the time, we weren't sure if they were coming back. I love the fact that we had that entire year of waiting. Would Groot ever come back? No, buddy, no. That's just the saddest part ever. And some of those moments like Peter Parker being snapped away, and it was just so. At the time, it was heart-wrenching. It was great.
Yeah,
good bit of cinema.
My number 9 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Ooh.
Out of the 3, it's the one that I've watched the most, I think. Baby Groot is the character that span out from that film, so it had the most sort of marketable accessory, should we say. But I just really enjoyed it, and I like Kurt Russell. I think he was a good ego. I agree with what you said about the ego storyline, but I just feel like it was a good middle point. You know, Guardians of the Galaxy set them up as what they are. Volume 3 kind of is when they're big, and it was just a good bridge for me.
For me, number 9 was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Interesting. You're a horror fan. I'm not surprised.
I am a horror fan. Yeah, and it was the first time that I think we got to see Wanda go full Wanda. I like that scene where she's chasing herself around the house, and there's the evil Wanda, the eyes in the dark. That's pure horror. It's brilliant. It's pure. Some of the scenes she was in that film were just amazing.
I agree with that one. That is in my top 20. My number 8, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. It isn't the best film in the MCU, but I love the Winter Soldier storyline. I love the execution of how the Winter Soldier came about, how he looked, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's my number 8.
No Way Home.
Wow.
It's not one of there's movies above it that I've watched more. To be fair, Spider-Man No Way Home, I think I've only watched about 3 times in total. It's okay. Yeah. I like it. It's cool. Once you've seen it, I think it loses the pop value for me then. It's still an entertaining movie, but I found it entertaining. Like the first time round was massive, and then after that, it's all right. It's just a good watch then at that point.
Yeah, fair enough. My 7 is the Hawkeye TV show.
Ooh, okay.
He's one of my favorites. And it's not all big special effects. It's just good ground level. Like, I love the fact that you see him beaten and broken, which is very much what you see in the comic books, particular comic book runs. And I just find him a very relatable character. He's very aware that he is just a guy running around with his gods and super serum soldiers and stuff. So he never tries to make that anything different. And seeing Kate Bishop and the kind of the growth of her becoming the Hawkeye, it's I've watched it more times than I think any of the other TV shows.
And the fact that there's an entire segment that has now been nicknamed the Girls' Night In is probably the best piece of thing I've ever of the MCU I've ever seen.
And you can watch it at this time of year because it's Christmas. So it's the MCU Christmas special. And now we've got Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. So
number 7 for me is Winter Soldier.
oh, cool, good. I'm glad it's up there for you.
I like the Winter Soldier. I like the whole Hail Hydra and all that kind of all the cool little elements. You know, the fact that everything was starting to break down at that point. The Civil War was starting. I like all that. And
obviously we're introduced to other characters that have kind of established themselves.
Become mainstays, yeah.
My number 6 is Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, identical. 6 Thor Ragnarok.
Is it?
Cool. Yeah, but that's my number 6 as well.
Just because I know people hate on it now because of it being Taika Waititi, yeah. And it's full of jokes and all the rest of it. But at the time, the Thor trilogy sucked. It was the worst. They were the worst. Thor 1 and Thor 2 were the worst MCU films out there. They ranked so low. And then Ragnarok happened, and all of a sudden, everyone loved it. And it's also one of the only MCU films that I've been able to sit down with my entire family, and we've all enjoyed it. Yeah,
same for me. Thor Ragnarok was the first one my wife watched and actually laughed at. The whole get help, all that stupid Thor humor. My wife actually finds that funny. She was originally watching it just for Chris Hemsworth, but ended up enjoying the storyline of it. Yeah. And she I remember what even hearing her laugh at the stupid jokes. So it worked. It did what it needed to do. And the fact that I liked the way they portrayed Hulk in that, it worked in that way with Thor and that silliness that works with the version of Hulk they've made of the MCU.
Yep, I'm 100% with you on that one. It's one of my favorites. My number 5 is Black Panther, the original.
Ooh.
Black Panther 1. Killmonger is one of the most underrated villains, I think, in the MCU because you kind of agree with everything he's saying. He's just saying it the wrong way. And it's one of the only films where I really found myself, I wasn't sure which side of the fence I sat on. Because I was like, I kind of agree with everything he's saying. And he's, he's doing the right thing in the wrong way. And I just think Michael B. Jordan was a fantastic portrayal of Killmonger. The suits, it was just a really good film. And I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. But that's my number 5.
My number 5 is the original Avengers.
Cool.
I've got it high up on my list. For me, it was that like say that first moment of seeing the major 3 stood together: Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, all side by side. And it was, that thing of should Captain America jump out the plane with them? You know what I mean? You're basically working with a guy who's a god, and I like all them stupid little jokes. And I just thought, it was the original big crossover we never thought we would see in 1,000 years. I remember being in the cinema full of grown men geeks that were just massively geeking out of that movie.
Yeah. And it was a thing, wasn't it? We were seeing all the MCU films come out and the little tie-ins at the post-credits and stuff. And then the Avengers film happened. And it was everything that we wanted it to be. So I can get with you on that one. Funnily enough, Captain America Civil War is my number 4 for the same reason. For me, that was the big crossover because it was all of these characters, wasn't it? They had all come in at this point. And we saw Spider-Man for the first time in the MCU. We saw Black Panther for the first time in the MCU. There was obviously the whole Civil War storyline, that iconic shield and blaster kind of set up. Tony finds out the truth about Bucky. Captain America's it's also thrown in. There's loads of jokes from like Ant-Man and stuff. Like it was just the crossover that, for me, it's the best crossover. At that point, no, there wasn't a better crossover up until that point.
Yeah. Number 4 for me was WandaVision.
Okay.
I really liked WandaVision. Obviously, I'm a big X-Men Wanda fan anyway. But I liked how they went with it because there was a lot. We thought it was going to go one way and it went completely left field and gave us Agatha Harkness. When we all wanted the big demon himself, but now we was happy in the end with Agatha. And it was that stupid song that made it for me. That just showed you where the thought process went.
Yeah.
It was just cheesy comedy, which I loved. It was
And
fun.
I still think the whole Mephisto thing, I still think that there is the opportunity, if they want to write it in, that he was behind it all. Like, they could still do it. They could still give the fans that payoff later down the line if they needed to.
I wonder if they're saving Mephisto for a film. Like, they need a big bad for the likes of Ghost Rider, Blade, Morbius. They need somebody for the dark superheroes to fight off, and the devil himself is just, who's better for Ghost Rider to face off with than the devil himself. So I think they're saving him for that, hopefully.
I agree. All right, here we go. Top 3. The top 3. Interestingly, you've already mentioned all of my top 3. All of my top 3 have already been in your
You've mentioned 2 of mine, but not my number 1. My number 1 you've not mentioned.
Okay, so my number 3 is Avengers Infinity War. For the reason being is that I think it's probably one of the most watched films in the MCU that I've watched multiple times. It's one of them ones, if it's on, I sit and watch it until the end. If I need something in the background, it's one of the films I put on. And like you say, that end scene where it just ended and we didn't know what was going on with who was coming back, and we had such a long wait. There was so much anticipation, so much build up. It was just seeing the Nomad version of Captain America, seeing Thanos beat down on Hulk, like all of these things just made it my number 3.
Yeah, and it was that hard moment of it took so much effort just to make Thanos even bleed.
Yeah,
it took so much effort just for that.
So
that's such a cool movie.
My number 3. That is my number 3.
My number 3 is Age of Ultron, because for me it was the movie that I felt was a literal comic book come to life.
Yeah,
that was, for me, it was the most comical movie of the bunch, but it was the one that felt the most comic book accurate, comic book movie.
Yeah,
it's the one that I always wanted to see on the big screen. Yeah. And I think, like everyone, I love that stupid moment where they're all trying to lift the hammer, and I just like the introduction of all the newer characters into it.
Yeah,
all the newer sort of like your Wonders and your Max, Quicksilver.
Yeah,
actually, I think his real name then. Couldn't think of Pitov.
Yeah, Pitov. Yeah.
And it was all the introduction of their characters, and I liked it.
And your
it's
mate was
probably
in
one
it.
I've watched the most of.
Your mate was in
it. I knew you were in it. Yeah.
No, I agree. I would put Age of Ultron, I'd almost put out of my list as just one of my favorites, just unranked. It's up there, but the reason it's not higher on mine is because other things pushed it down for other reasons. But but I don't disagree with you putting it in your top 3. My number 2 is Spider-Man No Way Home. Just for the fact that we got the 3 Peters. Like, we haven't had a film yet that's pulled in previous versions of the characters, have we? Like, and when you actually step back and you think about what it achieved by bringing in the 2 versions of this character, that 2 different actors in 2 different universes in 2 different franchises, they rebirthed those characters and made it work. Like, it worked. It wasn't, yes, it was cheesy as such, but it wasn't unbelievable. It was kind of like, wow, this actually works. Yes, it has its flaws, but being able to bring those universes back, seeing William Dafoe back as the Goblin, seeing like Doc Ock, seeing Electro, like bringing all those characters back, for me, put it as my number 2.
My number 2 was Civil War. For me, it was the introduction of Spider-Man that made that movie. The whole, hey guys, as he backflips onto the little, the introduction was just there, and it was everything I wanted that movie to be. And like all the stupid jokes from Ant-Man, anyone got any orange slices? And all the stupidness, like when he's running around inside Iron Man's suit, and that was just the ultimate geek crossover movie that we all wanted to see.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you at all. I'm a little bit embarrassed at myself for not putting it higher. What is it? It's my number 4. It's my number 4.
It's and the reason top 4, though. It's top 5.
It was put in at my number 1 originally. When I was thinking off the top of my head, I was like Civil War straight away at the top, and then it was pushed down for various different reasons. Because again, like No Way Home for me did something that Civil War wasn't able to, and in respect of bringing in the other characters and that. But yeah, that's why it ends up as my number 4. But I don't disagree with you putting it as your number 2 at all. My number 1, probably, you're not going to be surprised about this because I haven't mentioned it so far, but it's Avengers Endgame. Just because of the portal scene alone. Like I cannot think of a movie, franchise, television show, anything that has given me a scene that did so much in such a small way. Like it was perfection in my little geeky mind. So therefore it puts it at the top, because if anyone was to say what is the best MCU scene from any of the movies, portal scene would come out on top straight away. So it had to be my number 1.
Cool. My number 1, probably not going to surprise you all when you hear what I say, but Werewolf by Night.
I knew it was
number 1.
I knew it was there.
The genuine reason for me. The genuine reason for me is those were the comics I grew up with, and because we were on an Avengers path leading into the more superhero side of things, I never thought we would ever see on the big screen Man-Thing, Elsa Bloodstone, and Werewolf by Night, because he's such a obscure character in the MCU, in the Marvel universe in general, and that gave hope for me that we will see the likes of Blade, Dracula, Ghost Rider somewhere down the line, and we'll get the Midnight Suns or the Mythic or the Monster Legion at some point in the comics. So that for me had to be number 1, because it was just, and the fact that they did it in black and white to match the original comics.
Oh yeah.
Mwah.
It's funny because that was on my list, and as I said, the way I did it is pushing things down, and it was in there, and it kept getting put down. But I felt like it should almost be excluded from that list, if that makes sense, because
it's so different.
It kind of had its own place. Like I can't compare. Like I get totally why it's your number 1, but for me, I couldn't compare that to Endgame, because it was like, well, cinematically, Endgame has so much more, but Werewolf by Night was so unique that they're not the same. It's apples and oranges for me. And that's why I couldn't justify putting it as my number 1. I knew it was going to be your number 1. I knew it. I could have called it. But it was.
To put a thing on it, I'm the monster guy, you're the superhero guy. It's why it's just people's different tastes and opinions and comic likings. I've always been into the monster side of comics, so that's always been my standoff point. So it's my number 1. But
I'm going to throw up. I got Triple G's. I got 2 comments from Triple G here, ironically. Werewolf by Night was phenomenal. Totally agree. Do not disagree with that at all. And then the other one saying about Cap finally saying assemble and lifting Thor's hammer, dream come true. And I think that they're 2 really good comments. I think they're 2 very worthy number 1 spots. I don't disagree with either of those.
Nope.
Yeah, that was cool though. I'm surprised that there's quite a few that we got on the same, around the same point. So I'm surprised Hawkeye didn't make in your top 20 though. I thought it would.
It got pushed down a lot. I did the same. I was doing a similar thing to you, and I was kind of like looking at it and like I wrote down all the names of all the films and TVs, and kind of moving them up and down on my spreadsheet until eventually I had 20, and then the rest got cut off.
Yeah,
but
certain ones that were never going to make my thing was Secret Invasion, the Thor: The Dark World. Like those kind of they were the ones I was struggling with, because I was like, films like that were so far down. I'm glad that we kind of capped it at top 20, but I agree.
For me, it would have been the one film that I don't think I even wrote it down was the Incredible Hulk movie, the original Hulk one they did with Edward Norton.
Oh, really?
I didn't even think about it.
No, see, they kind of retconned it, didn't they? Because it's in there. But it's kind of like the family member no one talks about, because it's in there. It's part of the MCU, but it has no relevance. For me,
the first big Hulk thing for me was the original Avengers movie. That was Hulk's kind of, because it was where Mark Ruffalo took over. Yeah. So the moment they brought Mark Ruffalo in is the moment I consider the Hulk appearing in the MCU. I don't consider Edward Norton the Hulk to me.
No. See, the funny thing as well, talking about Age of Ultron and about how disliked it is, it's also the film that we got the Hulkbuster suit.
Yeah.
And everybody loves the Hulkbuster suit. Like, even when it comes to things like Marvel Legends, like Hulkbuster is one of the ones that so many people want for their collection, but it came from Age of Ultron. Like, it was, that, mental Hulk when he was like all like went all psycho, didn't he? Like, because of Wanda. That's why we had the Hulkbuster suit. But yeah, that's a good lists. Good lists. Cool. I like that. That was fun. It was hard though. I'm not gonna lie.
It was very hard. Yeah, it was a very hard Saturday thinking about that list.
It was hard, and I did not realize how much there was. Like, there is like a stupid amount of Marvel properties out there.
Yeah.
With that said, though, I think Deadpool 3 could go quite high up the list when it comes out. If all the rumors are set to be true, bearing in mind that they're bringing in people like Jennifer Garner to reprise Elektra. There's talk about Owen Wilson as Morbius. There's what?
Daphne Keane as well coming back. X-23.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was announced, wasn't it, this week?
I like she's kind of on board, and the fact that she's older now will just add to the whole. She looks like the character.
She really does. I mean, is she going to be in the X-Men suit though? Is she going to be wearing the?
That's what I'm hoping. Well, she won't be the yellow, but I'm hoping to see the black X-Force style suit.
The X-Force style one. Yeah, that could work.
It would be cool to give, because she's young enough. It would be cool to see her run with the Wolverine suit in the MCU later down the line as well.
Well, the thing is that they're building that young Avengers. They're building that
she'd just slot in.
Yeah,
another female Wolverine.
Yeah, it could be. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk about all these different cameos that are going to be in, and I think that it could essentially do a comical version of what Endgame did by bringing all these different people in, and I think that's a really exciting thing for it. And it's also Deadpool officially in the MCU, which is again quite cool. So we'll have to see.
The one thing that nobody's talking about when it comes to Deadpool 3, and I think there's a chance that a certain character could be in there to set everything back once Deadpool's messed everything up, and we're not talking about him. I think Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange could return. Because who else is gonna, like, once Deadpool's messed everything up and he's jumped universes and he's dragging different people from different universes here, there, and everywhere, who's gonna set that right at the end? Who's gonna send them all? Like who's gonna be the one that sends Jennifer Garner back, or you know what I mean? Like, who's gonna be the one that tells Ben Affleck he's not playing in the MCU? I could imagine Benedict Cumberbatch doing that whole spell thing and seeing them just fade out back into their own little portals and stuff.
Or it will be Wong.
Or Wong. It would be cool to see Benedict appear alongside Deadpool to me. More iconic to have, the proper Doctor Strange there rather than just his sidekick.
Oh, I agree.
Cool as Wong is.
He's the Sorcerer Supreme now, isn't he?
Yeah, I suppose.
you got to stick with it.
All right, then. As long as that, what's the name of that girl that was hanging around with him and watching films with him?
Oh,
as long as she's still there. If we cut to Wong and he's watching Deadpool on television or something and she's still there, that's the only way I'll accept him.
Fair play. Right, we have run over this
tonight.
We have gone over tonight just because we wanted to finish that off. So we are going to round up very quickly. Thank you very much for everyone that's tuning in, commenting along. We didn't get to as many comments as I would want to, just because we were chatting. And it's like, we will get to them. I can't think what's planned for next week, but we have something planned for next week.
We should hopefully have Emily's interview for next week, because we're interviewing her. Is it Tuesday, Wednesday?
We are.
It's Monday. It's not tomorrow, is it? We need to look that up. I need to double check.
Let's double check. Yeah, hopefully we'll have Emily's interview to play to us, to you all. But that's about it. Thank you very much for tuning in. Obviously, check the description, get all the links, get what you need to. Give us a follow where you follow people. And if you're watching us on replay, then do tune in live on a Sunday, because it's good fun. Sorrell, have a good week.
You too.
Everyone else, keep it geek.